Okay, this is Orlando Wilson, and what I want to talk about in this video is due diligence for investment projects, financial investment projects. Now, I've been in the private security, close protection, investigation business now for over 30 years, close to 35 years. And I've seen some very weird and wonderful things. And I've seen quite a few people that's lost literally millions of dollars, millions of pounds due to not doing the basic due diligence on people they were dealing with and investments that they put money into, which tended to disappear. You need to be doing due diligence for any business project. You need to be doing due diligence on the people you're dealing with and any projects to ensure that the projects are real, ensure the people are real, ensure the projects are real, ensure everything is real. A lot of people don't. And I think the reason a lot of people don't bother with due diligence is because the scammers win over their confidence. And people, generally being nice people, don't believe that they're going to get scammed. They don't see that they're going to get scammed. Their ego gets in the way and they don't think that they need to do the due diligence. You always need to do due diligence. As far as anything to do with money is concerned, anything to do with investments is concerned, you don't trust anybody. When somebody comes to you, especially if the person you're investing with comes to you with due diligence, proof of records, proof of this, proof of who they are, you know what? You double check it, you triple check it, especially where a large amount of money is concerned. Everything needs to be checked. Trust no one. I had a gentleman come to me years ago. He lost $1.9 million in an investment project in Europe. He went and put a lot of money, $1.9 million, with a gentleman to invest for him in various projects, and the money disappeared. That's it. And I said to this guy when he showed me the paperwork, I said, well, this looks cool, but it's all BS. I can see there's too many holes in it. I said to him, where did you meet this guy, the person he invested with? A recommendation. Okay. Did you physically meet him? Yes. The person that came to me flew to the country to meet the scammer. And it's funny because the scammer had all this planned out from the beginning. Took the victim, we'll call him a victim, took him out to dinner, took him out to nightclubs, took him to a hotel, and the scammer told this guy, this is my hotel, took him to a couple of apartment buildings, these are my apartment buildings. But this guy had paid off the concierge at the apartment buildings and staff at the hotel to tell the victim that, yes, this is the scammer owned the hotels. Back in the day, it might have cost him like $100 total, a couple of $100 total to pay everybody off to say, yeah, he's the big boss. He was nobody. He was a scammer, and he had a back history of scamming. So he painted the picture, and the victim believed it. He believed what he saw. But he never bothered to verify if the scammer actually did own the hotel, if he did own the condo buildings. Why? He was blinded. He saw this guy, he's a friendly guy, took him out to dinner, took him out to nightclubs, showed him a good time. So he's got to be legitimate, right? And the funny thing was, the victim transferred the money over to the scammer, and apparently for the first few months of his first few months worth of investments, on paper, he made a very good return. 4 or 5 months in, all of a sudden, he owed the scammer about $60,000 to $70,000 because everything went bad. It didn't go bad, the scammer just ripped him. Long story short, this went to a tribunal court in London. The scammer couldn't come to London because he had warrants out for him. He had warrants out for him from the US. But even though we told the tribunal, even though we told, it went to arbitration court in London, Even though we told the arbitrator that, look, this guy's a scammer, he's got warrants out for him, he can't turn up, etc. The arbitrator gave a split decision between the victim and the scammer. Because the victim was like, F you, I'm not paying you any money to go to arbitration. Whereas the scammer put up the money for the arbitration court in London, even though he couldn't come to London because he had warrants. Because my client said, well, wasn't to some extent, my client said, F you, I'm not paying you any money to the arbitrator, gave a split decision. Now the scammer in his country had something from an arbitration court saying he didn't owe the victim a penny. So you can see a lot of these scammers are very, very professional. This scammer had a financial background, an extensive financial background. It was a very professional scammer, top. A scammer will put a lot of work into making a couple of $1 million, the same as anybody would if they're looking to put in a proposal for a business project for a couple of $1 million. People will do their homework. So you have to be very, very careful these days, especially if you're doing any large investments with individuals or companies. You got to ensure one thing, that in their jurisdictions, if things go bad, you can actually get the money back, or they can be held accountable. So, as I said, over the years, I've seen a lot of people, you lose a lot of money due to not doing due diligence, or not doing sufficient due diligence. Just meeting somebody and they appear to be a nice guy, a nice girl, shaking their hands and going out to dinner with them and talking some BS, it doesn't mean they're trustworthy. You double, triple check everything. You check out who they are 100%. You check out any investment projects 100%, and you ensure that the people you're investing with are legitimate and they're not scammers. So that's a little story. I'm going to be putting out more of these stories and more of these videos and some interviews coming up with some interesting people. But from the investigation perspective, due diligence perspective, myself and Risk Incorporated provides a full range of investigation services and also due diligence services. So before you go dropping a lot of money into any projects, be sure to do your due diligence.